Hello and welcome to Bad Romance, a series on my channel where I will be reading or rereading romances that I think are bad, I guess. It is kind of a guilty pleasure of mine, but romance is probably I believe my second most read genre, so it's a pretty big staple in my reading, so I don't know what I would be doing if I wasn't making videos about romances, and specifically bad romances. Like I say in the hate read videos, I can't hate watch movies. I don't really watch chick flicks and stuff. I can't hate watch TV shows, and I don't like romantic movies and TV like that. But a romance book, I will devour. And with the first installment of Bad Romance, I read Beautiful Disaster and Walking Disaster by Jamie McGuire. These books are like a contemporary college romance from, I believe, 2011, and it's the typical virgin and player trope. This book is in Abby's perspective, and this book is in Travis's perspective, and just all the crazy, toxic things that happen before, during, after, and then once again during their relationship. I read these books for the first time when I was in middle school. I definitely shouldn't have been reading them at that time, but I did, and at that time I actually really liked it. And then I reread them, and I have, if you go on Goodreads, you can see the review. Critical thinking really ruined these books for me, and they did. But ever since I started wanting to make YouTube videos, I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to make a video about these books. So that is what this is. I haven't watched the movie. I will not be watching the movie, and I'm not gonna talk about the movie. I honestly can't believe that only, I think, was it last year, 2023, they're making they made a Beautiful Disaster movie and like starting the franchise. I'm like, over 10-year-old books, y'all are making movies about them now? Like, and I know they're bad. It's like kind of like after. I think that's probably why, like, that kind of like bad romance people like, which is why I'm doing this. Spoiler warning if you haven't read these, or I don't even know if like the movies stay true to what goes on in the books, but if you don't want to be spoiled, stop watching here. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly of these books. So and I'm just going to hold this one up because I prefer this one. I give this one 2 stars and I give this one 1. It's terrible being in Travis's head, but I will be getting into that. Something I cannot lie about is that it is entertaining. I've read it multiple times. I literally just read it back to back. Reading this one and Walking Disaster is pretty much like reading the same book over and over. And it wasn't a slog to get through. It wasn't hard, but they're definitely not quality books, unfortunately. And something else about these books that's surprisingly good is that there are a lot of iconic lines in it. Abby has a surprise birthday party thrown for her, and she's taking shots, and like for every shot she gets $20, and then if she takes 15, she like doubles her money, which is insane. But before she takes a shot, she goes, "I want to see my money," and I'm like, that's something I say on a regular basis, and I didn't even realize that was from here until I just read it. I'm like, oh my gosh. There's a part where Abby is leaving the apartment. There's just all this stuff. I'm not doing like an in-depth about these. Like, you can look it up, and yeah, I don't know what their name is, but there's another YouTuber who's done like a whole like explanation of what happened. So I would recommend go watching that. This is just me talking about what I want to talk about. But so essentially, Abby and Travis hook up for the first time, and Abby's doing it as like a goodbye, but Travis is like, oh my gosh, we're finally gonna be in a relationship. And so when they're done, Abby goes, that's some first kiss, because she has like a thing with first kisses. And then Travis goes, yeah, your last first kiss. And it's like, if if a man said that to me, I'd be like, did you just threaten my life? Like, did you just threaten me? Like, excuse me? But it is honestly iconic and hilarious. I laugh every time I read it. Right before Travis confesses to Abby, she talks about how, like, because of like his behavior and stuff, she's not getting like the college experience she was promised in the brochure. That's something I would say when I was in college. Yeah, I reread this again when I was in college. And then I'm going to read it because of how iconic it is. But Travis's confession on page 193. I practiced this in my head the whole time we were on the bike, so just hear me out. He said, Travis, I know we're fucked up, all right? I'm impulsive and hot-tempered, and you get under my skin like no one else. You act like you hate me one minute, and then you need me the next. I never get anything right, and I don't deserve you. But I fucking love you, Abby. I love you more than I've loved anyone or anything. When you're around, I don't need booze or money or the fighting or the one-night stands. All I need is you. You're all I think about. You're all I dream about. You're all I want. Come on. I can't lie. That's good. It's good. Obviously, like, he's a toxic person, and he literally ruins it right after by being like, did you sleep with Parker, the guy she like literally just came back from having a date with? And it's like, he's really showing where his priorities are. Yeah, it's good that you're all I think about, you're all I dream about, you're all I want. Come on. That's good. That's a good line. And then yeah, Abby says something about like how she was trying to get away from her past and everything, and then she comes to the school and she runs into Travis, and everything of her past is shown to her and in an irresistible tattooed package. I'm like, that's a good line as well. But those good lines is where the good ends and we go into the bad. So the bad, like so many books, the writing is honestly lazy. The setup is honestly lazy. I don't know what authors' deals are with making college like high school. I don't know about those watching, but my college experience was kind of underwhelming. And then there was the COVID intermission. So yeah, my college experience wasn't really like that. And yeah, especially from like being in dining halls and all that stuff, it's like it doesn't really seem like high schools and that there are cliques like that. It's just more like friend groups. But maybe other people's college experience is different. I don't know. There are so many times where it's said in one way or another that Abby isn't like other girls, you know, she's different, she's not like everybody else, It's just tired. For Travis, it's insta love, but for Abby, they're insta besties. And then it goes into insta love and all this stuff. Not even 50 pages into this book, they are sleeping in the same bed. They are sleeping in the same bed because the boilers conveniently went out and she needed a place to stay, and she's not sleeping on the couch, so they are sleeping in the same bed. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Miss McGuire did not waste any time. And while Abby is sleeping in the same bed with Travis, she starts dating this guy named Parker, and obviously she can do what she wants, but she also feels like kind of judged for like dating him but sleeping in the same bed. And it's like, yeah girl, maybe you want to wait until you're not doing that to start dating other people, because to me at least it's like disrespectful. It's like, come on, like you're expecting to have a boyfriend while you're sleeping in the same bed as another guy with another guy. Come on. And then just the typical miscommunication or no communication in the case of this books, and honestly a lot of like manipulation that's kind of icky, you know. It's a trend I've noticed in a lot of the books I've been reading recently from like the early 2010s, or like yeah, the 2000s and 2010s, where the main male love interest is the kind of character that just does things, whether it's like in crossing a boundary for the main female character or not, and then they'll apologize later instead of just asking and like making sure about things. I don't know what is the deal with writing male characters like that, but like that is an issue, and that is not a good thing. Pretty much the entire crux of the conflict that comes from this book comes from the fact that Travis is a terrible communicator, has no emotional intelligence whatsoever, and he does not listen. He does not listen to the words that come out of people's mouths. He hears what they say and then twists it into the worst possible thing ever, and then throws a tantrum, or yeah, has a tantrum about it. It's actually freaking ridiculous. There's a conversation where they're dating and he's talking about like getting married and all this stuff, blah blah blah, and Abby's like, slow down. We need to slow down. I'm not trying to be thinking about that stuff. I don't want to talk about it. Like, let's just like slow down a bit. And he's like, what? Are you trying to break up with me? Like, I'm not going to share you, da da da. And it's like, she didn't say she wanted to break up. She said, you need to slow down in your relationship, which is fair, especially she's 19 and a freshman in college. Like, come on. And then at the, in nearly every romance novel where they have to break up due to some irresolvable conflict, Abby just leaves. She doesn't like tell him, I'm breaking up with you. She just leaves. And she says that she had to do it that way because Travis wouldn't have let her leave if she did. It's like, that is so bad. That is horrible. That is terrible that he would have physically prevented her from leaving. Literally, I know he would have, with the kind of character he is, he would have prevented her from leaving if she tried to have a conversation with him and break up with him. That is so bad. And in my opinion, Travis love bombed Abby for sure. He's incredibly overprotective and overpossessive. He will say in his own perspective in Walking Disaster that, he doesn't think he's good enough for her, but then refuses to leave her alone. It's like, if you don't think you're good for her, leave her alone. Why are you still always in her face and wanting her attention and being possessive over her, even though you have no right to be, bro? Get out of here. There's a lot of alcoholism, especially on Travis's end in this book. There's so many things that he represses his feelings by drinking, and him getting drunk gets him into so many different altercations and so many like just terrible situations. He almost hits Abby one time. He's just a horrible character. Like I said earlier, she takes 15 shots at her 19th birthday party, and I know that's really bad, but since I don't drink, I don't know just how bad that is, but I know it's freaking terrible. In Walking Disaster, when Abby comes to stay with Travis after the boilers go out, he goes through her clothes. He goes through her bag, and specifically in detail, he's like looking at her underwear, and he's like, oh, she just brought like regular underwear. She didn't bring anything sexy. Like, that's disappointing. It's like, a woman wrote this book. A woman wrote this book. Why would you write that? Why would you write that? I don't care how much he likes her and how much he's obsessed with her. That's weird. That's weirdo behavior. And then even worse, later in the book, when Abby is in the bathroom getting ready for a date, America is in there with her, and he goes up to the door and is like, what are they saying? What are they talking about? Da, da, da. It's like, bro, you're a weirdo. How about you just mind your business? Like, why, as a woman author, Jamie McGuire, look, right there, why would you write a male character like that? There's so much that happens in this book and in their relationship and just all this stuff, and the majority of it happens, the start of their friendship, the start of their relationship, and the ending of their relationship happens in one semester of college. They're together. I couldn't tell you when they get together, but they break up before Thanksgiving break, and they don't get back together until like around Valentine's Day. So it's like, not only does all this happen in one semester of college, but at the end, they end up getting married, and they haven't even been together a year. And Abby is 19 years old. I don't care how old Travis is. I don't care about Travis. I'm worried about Abby. And she's only 19, and they end up getting married. And for those that don't know, this is just like the first in a series, really, or like there's a spin-off of Travis. Because he has like four older brothers. Does he have 4 or 5? He has 4 older brothers, and each of them get their own book, and I have read them all, and I will be rereading them. But it's a whole setup, because essentially near the end there's a fire at one of the fights Travis was doing. He's like an underground fighter, and a lot of people died, and obviously if he was involved in that, then he would be going to prison. But in an attempt to help him get an alibi, Abby very quickly was like, let's get married. If they went to get Vegas and got married, it'd be like, oh, of course he wasn't at the fight, but they can see that the plane tickets went after the fight anyway. But it doesn't work, but Abby doesn't know that initially, and Travis ends up having to join like the FBI or something and helping in investigations to work off his guilt. Pretty much, he was involved in something that caused a lot of people's deaths. And then the ugly of Beautiful and Walking Disaster. And to some people it might not seem a lot, but to me it really stood out. The misogyny. the blatant misogyny and the really bad internalized misogyny from Abby specifically. Once again, a woman wrote both of these books, and on this one, there's a little blurb at the top from Colleen Hoover that says, "Once you get inside of Travis Maddox's head, you won't want to leave." In both of these, nearly every other female character that isn't friends with Abby, like America. America is her best friend, so literally every other female character is just either called a skank, a slut, or just some kind of antagonist in that, oh, they want to be with Travis and they're just trying to get in the way of Travis and Abby, blah, blah, blah. Or they're just like mean. And it's like, that's not what it's like in real life. And then in Travis's perspective, he is completely disrespectful. He's so demeaning to every woman he comes across except for Abby, but he has no problem running through every woman that is in that school, just being in his perspective and like watching him interact with the different female characters he interacts with, and he's so rude and demeaning. It was a little disgusting to read, frankly. But in conclusion about these two books, I am just left with the question, and maybe you can help me, of what does it say and mean for a woman to have not only written books like this, but for them to also be like extremely popular as well? Travis is supposed to be this super beloved male main character and endearing and all this stuff. And yes, he's a walking disaster, but ultimately, yeah, you're supposed to be rooting for him, but obviously I'm not. He's literally a walking red flag. That's what he is, and a restraining order waiting to happen. One thing I can say is that I'm very glad that these books didn't affect me more as a young, impressionable teenager. It is incredibly harmful when women write female characters that are either just put through the ringer in a relationship with a man, or they are constantly compromising themselves and the things they want for the sake of having or keeping a man. Ultimately, I realized that Travis mentally ill Maddox is a man that was written by a woman, but instead of being the ideal version of a man, he is probably one of the most realistic depictions of the most toxic kind of man that can exist as possible. And I would say the kind that sure may have like a tragic backstory and all that stuff, but instead of growing and changing and maturing from it, they use it as a crutch and a reason as to why they're able to push people away, and they're able to manipulate people, and they're able to throw tantrums and have all these explosive, incredibly violent moments, but have them be forgiven because that's just how they are, and you just have to forgive them, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no. Yeah, the amount of times that either Travis or another character told Abby that she has to forgive Travis for his incredibly irresponsible actions was just ridiculous. She does not have to do anything she doesn't want to do. Thank you very much. But yeah, so like I said, I gave Beautiful Disaster 2 stars, and I gave this book 1 star. I will never reread these books again. I am gonna read the other ones though. I freaking have to, because I don't remember completely what happens, but I know it's drama. Thank you for joining me on the first installment of Bad Romance. If you want to see more of me and hear how good of a singer I am, you can check out my music channel and my original music all under the name of Shy Fighter. If you want to subscribe if you want to subscribe. I don't know, do whatever you would like to do. Thank you so much again for watching, and I will see you when I see you. Farewell.